Are you ready to be edutained? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Vibrant Living with your host, Dr. Ellison. Let's turn up the dial on your health, relationships, and personal growth. Right here on WAEC Love 860, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio. And now, without further ado, here's Dr. Ellison.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Dr. Ellison, and welcome to another wonder-filled week. Now, why would you say it's wonder-filled? Because we serve a wonderful God. We serve a wonderful Lord. And so welcome back to Vibrant Living. I tell you now, I can't tell you how excited I am concerning this broadcast. And as we get deeper into it, you're going to see why I'm making such a statement. But we have some dynamic guests with us. Of course, we got the customary, the usual Dr. Christopher Smith. Dr. Smith, it's so good to see you back.
Good to see you as well.
Man, you're just getting off the road, too, so I know.
Just off the road.
Just off the road. And so you know Dr. Chris. Now, he's been around forever with us as one of our co-hosts. But Dr. Chris, we've got some other special guests today in the house that that's going to be with us. That's with us to help address a topic that I believe that is an issue that's costing society more than any other issue, and it's the male issue. And we brothers are together today to deal with that and to do something about it as much as we can. So to my immediate right, I want you to introduce yourself, Brother Keon Reed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ellison. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Keon Reed. I'm a youth leader at New Bethel International, and I also work at First Data, the largest payment processing company in the world. But, my heart is really towards the young people and trying to, shift areas from where we've been marginalized and, try to utilize the skills we have at hand, not only the internet, but leveraging the resources from our previous generations, really learning from each other and really empowering each other through God's word, most definitely, through trading, through stocks, through, resume building, all those areas. I really want us to think about professional development and how we can give back to the community at large.
Well, I could see it exuding out of you when I first came to your church. I mean, you were there, and I could tell it. This guy is into the young folks. And to your immediate right.
Thank you for having me. My name is Jason McFarland. I too am. I'm one of the youth directors at our church. We just got into that position, so I'm very happy and excited to be able to help out with that. I attend Divine Visitation International Ministries. Is the church that I'm at. I've been there for about a year now. I've been in the area for, I want to say, about a year and a half. Came up from Florida, and it's been doing very well for me.
Wow.
As far as professionally, I work with Genesis Assets Management. With that, we kind of help companies to be able to get funding. We also go and help businesses to be able to kind of save money on some of the services that they're already providing. And we do a lot in the financial planning sector as well.
Okay.
So I think for me with this whole thing, it's just something in which I really have a desire for youth. I think for me growing up, there were a lot of little things that I faced. And I'd like to be able to try to correct those in as many people as possible.
Now, what was so amazing to me when we were talking the other night, all five of us, one of us is not here yet, but it was amazing, too. That Dr. Chris, you're also dealing in the youth domain, that space as well, with the young folks as well.
Yeah. I've been in youth ministry now for probably about, as a leader, probably about 4 or 5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's something that I have a passion for. I actually teach Sunday school. I teach teens, so it's something that is real near and dear to me. Just that investment in our future.
Oh, come on. I like that.
And so, if I wouldn't be where I am today if somebody didn't invest in me.
Didn't invest in you. Come on.
And so it's up to me to give back and invest in those that are coming behind me.
Well, I thought it was so unique as we were on the phone the other night, and even Brother John, who's not here, John McGee, all four of you guys are dealing with young folk. I thought that was very, very unique. Well, we got a major issue, what I like to say a major issue, and I'm excited because all of us are in this thing, and I want us to talk about something that's getting ready to come out that all of us are a part of, and we're expecting it to be ready by Father's Day. That would be the perfect gift for fathers, for uncles, for brothers, nephews, cousins, or just a friend in your life. I believe that every male needs to get a copy of what we're getting ready to talk about today, men magnifying manhood. Wow. Men magnifying manhood. I want us to go around the table and share what were your feelings as you began to write in this book. All right, as you began, just briefly, what were some of the feelings as you began to put your mind to the task of writing that chapter? What began to emerge out of you? Anybody wants to go first? Who wants to go first?
All right. Well, for me, honestly, I was honored to be able to be in a position to be able to give back and write in regards to some of the things that my experiences, some of the things that I see going on, and just the opportunity to be able to give a little bit of knowledge from my perspective. Mm-hmm. You know, I think a lot of us, we all, as men, period, I think a lot of times we're not as vocal with things. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people don't really know the different things that we're going through or some of the different things that we've experienced. So to be able to have that opportunity to be able to reach out to others and share some of the things that I experienced and how I was able to overcome those obstacles.
And Jason, what's the name of the chapter in the book, Men Magnifying Manhood, for those who are just tuning into the broadcast? These gentlemen that are with us today on the show, we together have written a book entitled Men Magnifying Manhood, Stories That Give Hope and Empowerment to Other Males, so that no male will go without maximizing their manhood. But what was the name of the chapter that you wrote?
For me, I named the chapter Lost in Greatness. I think for all of us, everyone has an element of greatness that's in them. It's whether they're really able to tap into it and find it. I think a lot of times, many of us don't have the guidance needed to really be able to trap into the full potential there. And a lot of us are lost.
And we need to talk about that. We're going to get into that too, because that's a major thing that's why we've got that issue, because we don't have the guidance. Dr. Smith, your chapter, what was, I guess, first of all, what was it that came up in your heart as you began to write? I read all you guys' chapters, by the way, and oh my God, story. But Doc?
Well, it was it was like my partner had said, it was an honor just to be able to do that. I was brought back to just how I got to this point. How I was raised.
Wow.
My childhood. Especially my father. I grew up in a household with my father that was there, that was active. And so it brought me back to that place. And, this allowed me to just really think about how he raised me. My chapter is entitled Manhood, Strength, and Love. And the basis of my chapter deals with the ability of a man to love. There are a lot of things that define a man.
Hey, you don't hear that talked about.
That's good.
You don't hear that talked a lot about.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that define a man, but I believe one of the greatest things is love, or the ability to love.
Yeah, I like the way he worded that, Keon.
Yes.
A man's ability to love.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you got a lot of nurturance from your father.
Yeah. Absolutely. And my father, I came around, he was an older man. And so he had a lot of wisdom. He already had a lot of experience in raising a son. I have an older brother. And so, but I learned a whole lot from him. Very appreciative of the time that I had with him. He passed away a couple of years ago.
Sure.
But the time that I had with him, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And that statement again, that you went back, you began to go back as you were writing and think about how you got to where you are right now. And I think that's so critically important. All right, Keon, tell us about what were your feelings as you were, I guess you were and just about to finish on your chapter. Tell us what your feelings are and were.
Well, I'm going to steal a little bit from what Dr. Chris said. It really took me back down memory lane and to think about all the major milestones that contributed to my life. Not only that, the influences from men in the community, my father, my pastor. And not only that, thinking about myself and where I fit in the larger picture of, the male community, even the African-American community, and just looking at how we've been marginalized. And, I'm sharing a really good story in there about, racism as well, and how that affects you growing up in America and outside of America, and, me coming from Jamaica, what that looks like as well. And so, as I've gone through the book, and thinking about my own life, I'm thinking about, potential and what I've been able to tap in, things that I can work towards getting to. And not only that, how I can leverage other men in the community, even the men that are here in this book, to really propel me to be who I am and who I can become. And not only that, so that I may, deposit
wait a minute
myself.
now. You're kicking out so many nuggets there. Wait a minute. Hey, Jason and Dr. Chris, we got to grab some of these nuggets. The guy's unloading a whole lot. But I like the way you brought out, it calls you to think about who you are in the larger scheme
Correct.
of males and manhood.
Correct.
That's very important, because oftentimes as we're trying to survive, trying to make it, we don't think about our brother men.
No.
And
That's
we need to
correct.
think about our impact, our contribution, how we influence others that are in our spaces.
That's correct.
Wow, that's powerful. What's
Yes,
the name of the chapter?
I was waiting for you to get there. So the title of my chapter is A Wasted Man, Finding Meaning in My Identity.
Whoa, wow.
And that really stems from, a lot of changes and, personal issues stemming from last year with school and, my mother going through her cancer diagnosis and family, and I'm a newlywed. And so, meeting the goals and demands of marriage and school and work and putting everything together. But really, when I talk about a wasted man, I'm thinking and I'm saying, how far could I have been if I didn't make some mistakes, or if I'd listened to other advices, or if I'd really used the tools I had at hand? More importantly, how far would I have been if I was consistent in some of the decisions I've made and the goals to work towards them?
See, these are the kind of things that we as males need to hear. And there are a lot of males that are listening to us right now that need to hear these kind of nuggets. If I had been more consistent, more focused. These are the things that's going to help us be all that we can be. Now, we're talking today about a book that's going to be available to everybody, male and female, by Father's Day, a book entitled Men Magnifying Manhood, Stories That Give Hope and Empowerment to Other Males, with the intent that we might maximize what God has given us as males, and that's the gift of manhood. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Rejuvenation for youthfulness and beauty is trending worldwide. People are getting laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, skin brightening, tightening, lifting, and reshaping. SmartPlex ATL, a comprehensive medical spa located in East Cobb, 4799 Old Town Parkway. You can also visit us online at smartplexatl.com. Dr. Alexander and his team enjoy pampering you while you receive customized treatments in a beautiful, calming, Zen-like atmosphere. SmartPlex ATL. We are your Hollywood destination for exciting, youthful rejuvenation.
All right, we're back, everybody. Dr. Ellison here, Brother Keon Reed, Dr. Christopher Smith, and Brother Jason McFarland, and we together, we're talking about a book that's going to be available by Father's Day, a book entitled Men Magnifying Manhood. There are actually 16 contributing writers in this book. Again, Men Magnifying Manhood, and all of us are going to tell you how you can reach out to us and get your copy for your father, your husband, your uncle, your brother, nephew, cousin, or maybe just a coworker on the job or a friend. Every male needs to get a copy of Men Magnifying Manhood. The unique thing about it, guys, is stories of how we have traveled life, mistakes that we have made. We endeavor to bring out the good, the bad, and all the ugly. This is what we encourage the guys to put it all in there. And we realize that everybody has a different story. But I'm convinced of this, that somebody can benefit from my story, somebody can benefit from your story, and so forth and so on, according to all the writers in this particular book. I'm excited about it. We were talking about the chapters and the name of the chapters, and I want us to go back around again and just share the name of your specific chapter. Dr. Smith?
Mine is entitled Manhood, Strength, and Love.
Manhood, Strength, and Love. And I'm not going to give all the good stuff away. You're just going to have to get the book. But I read his chapter 2, and oh, my God, it was just stirring. And I can just about guarantee to you that there's somebody who's going to get the spirit of fatherhood out of that book. And I believe that that's one of the things as you read Dr. Smith's chapter and listen to how he grew up in his relationship with his father. I really believe, Dr. Chris, somebody's going to feel your father through your story. Wow. Yeah. Jason, tell us again the name of your chapter.
Yeah, my chapter was entitled Lost in Greatness.
Lost in Greatness. You know, the way you came off, man, you grabbed me when I was looking at it. The first paragraph was grabbing. Please just give us a little bit of that first paragraph, how you came off with that chapter.
For me, I grew up in the church, but I didn't always make the best decisions in life. Mm-hmm. I mean, as I got older, I didn't really have the father figure in the home. Of course, I had some people who were around me who tried to guide me, but I could be a little bit hard-headed too. So with that, I kind of ran off and did a lot of things that honestly I didn't have any business doing. And with me, I kind of start off with that chapter facing the repercussions of some of my bad decisions.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, it was grabbing. I tell you, it grabs the imagination. So you want to get it. You want to get it because no doubt your life may be where Jason's life was, and now he has evolved. And I've watched him, and he's all smiling. What now? You're newlywed as well, correct?
Yeah, I'm about to be 2 years in September.
2 years. All right.
Nice.
Okay.
About to be 2 years.
And now, Keon, we're going to you next. And how long have you been in this great dynamic world of marriage?
It's been 2 years and 4 months.
2 years and 4 months. Okay. All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Of course.
I congratulate you guys. Well, in my case, it's been quite a few moons. Dr. Chris, if I tell them how long, y'all get an idea how old I am. But I don't feel nothing like the age that I really am. Yeah. But no, actually, my girlfriend and I have been married for going on 37 years.
Wow.
37
Amazing.
years this November the 19th. And I tell guys this too, guys. I like this. I like jokes. I tell guys in my marriage seminars, let me tell you the best way to remember your wife's birthday. There is a best way to do it, Sean. And that best way is to forget it one time. You forget it one time, her birthday, you won't do it again on that anniversary time. By the way, a guy had lost his wallet, had his credit card in it, and his friend said, aren't you going to look for your wallet? He said, no, let the guy who took it, well, no, I think somebody stole it. Let the thief keep it. He said, the thief is spending less money than my wife. Anyway, I love jokes. But Keon, go back and give us again the name of your chapter before we move on.
Most definitely. The title of my chapter was called A Wasted Man, Finding Meaning in My Identity.
A wasted man. So you would say that many males are wasting life? Wasting?
Yes, I would really think so, and I would even go further and say, if we look in the graveyard, lost potential, life snuffed out. Yeah. But even when we move that into the realm of the living, we shift to our prison systems, we shift to our schools and the grades there, we shift to the men that are actually graduating high school and college. We're seeing that the ability and the potential, it's being lost somewhere, and we need to stop that in some way. So the real title for my book is for us to remember that not to focus on the wasted part, but that you're a man. And as you think about wasting away, you find that there's more to you and that you need to find that. And in the company of great men and men that we have here sitting among me, we can find that true story and to reveal our identity.
Well, I like that. Now, you've opened up, for some reason, I'm feeling that he has a way of opening the can. So since he opened the can, Dr. Smith, we're going to go there a little bit. Okay. Let's talk about some of the things that are going on. And we're still in the circumference of the book. But we got some issues that are going on among males. It hasn't just started, of course. We know it's been going on since time began. But let's talk about it because there are some things that are happening. And I just want us to talk a little bit before we conclude this show on some of the things that are happening in the world of males. And I want to, and you all feel free to jump in and just elaborate. The first thing I've got here is that we're uneducated about life. You know what I'm saying? We're uneducated about life as males oftentimes, particularly from a male's perspective. Well, how can I say that? Well, when you look at the number of homes nowadays where there's no male in the house, so how can the male be educated about life from the male perspective in particular? And thank God for the women.
Yes.
If it wasn't
that's
for
right.
our women, black women in particular, now I'm not biased just to our race because this stuff is happening all over the place. As long as there's a devil out there, he is into trying to break any home up, whether it's a Japanese home, black home, or whatever. But the reality is many of our homes have no father in the house. Right?
That's a fact.
So the males don't know how. They're not educated. We're not educated about life from the male father paternal perspective. Let's chat about that for just a little bit. And how important it is.
I think for me, that was something that I definitely dealt with. My mother, she was working like 2-3 jobs at a time for the most part to be able to ensure that me and my sister were, okay. And with that, I think growing up, at first I didn't really realize the effects of it, but I think as I got older, I started to build resentment to an extent. Why did this person have this experience and I didn't get to do this? Or why didn't I learn this? Or, just kind of seeing the little things that were missed. And I feel like with that, it's something that's going on not just with me personally, but it's something that's going on in our community, on a very large scale. And I think that's why, for me personally, one of the things that I'm very interested in doing is trying to find ways to be able to open up different channels like this to be able to give back, because I think with the right figures around you, there's a lot more knowledge that's there.
Have you noticed the fulfillment that it gives to you when you're looking to give something that maybe you didn't have? Have you paid attention to that?
Definitely.
That sense of fulfillment?
That plays a big factor in it. I think I was just talking to somebody yesterday and just being able to give some of the knowledge that I learned from my personal experience, so that they could hopefully make the right decisions to not go through some of the things I went through. It's very, very pleasurable for me.
And see, this is what the book is all about, what Jason just mentioned, giving hope. Hopefully somebody will learn from his experiences and so forth. And again, the book is entitled Men Magnifying Manhood. We've got to magnify it. It's our responsibility to magnify manhood in that young male's life, in that young boy's life, in our sons' lives, in our nephews' lives. It's our responsibility. I take this approach from the church's standpoint, the kingdom of God standpoint, that the problems of society are first and foremost our problem.
That's good.
Before they are social services problems, before it's the psychiatrist's problem. It's the kingdom of God. We who serve the kingdom of God, they are our problems and our responsibilities first. Anybody else want to chat on that part before we move on to another point? All right. Well, here's another thought that I had too concerning us. Not only are we uneducated, because from the male perspective in particular, again, thank God for mothers, because usually the mothers are the ones who are still nurturing, taking care of the children. But men are also confused about, and here's a key word, purpose. Why we exist. The late Dr. Miles Monroe would always say, where something like where purpose is not understood, then things are going to be abused. I think I may have twisted them up just a little bit, but it is critically important that we understand the why of our existence. Because if I don't, then the end result is going to be an abuse of my own life and the lives of others too. How many times have we seen that wives abused, children abused, because the husband didn't know his purpose, the brother didn't understand his purpose, or simply the male didn't understand the why of his existence. And we could spend a lot of hours just talking about the why, But that's another. In the book, I write in my chapter, I talk about root causes of the male issues. Root causes, getting to the root causes. And this is one of those root causes, not being in tune with my purpose. Why I am here. Why did the creator, the designer, the architect of all human life, why did he create me? Why did he make me 5'7", 100? Well, I guess he's not totally responsible for the weight. It may be that donut and those sodas, But he genetically wired me to be 5'7". That's evident because I've been that mostly all of my life until, except the earlier years. But misguided purpose is another issue. Any thought on that we don't have oftentimes the purpose?
I think that's really good and an important point. And I think when I try to wrap my mind around it, it boils down to communication. And I know, Jason, you touched on this in that if someone's not there, for one, then you can't speak, right? And then one of the things I've found, even coming from my own culture, is that, fathers, they probably don't open up and share as much. And then even with the men in the community, they'll sit and they'll talk about everything else. But when it comes to your emotions, that's something they don't touch on, right? And so what we find is that we as men grow up and we don't know how to express ourselves. And so the wrong emotion is evoked at the wrong time, which forms into abuse, or, they shut down and, they're avoiding things. And so because we haven't handled the emotion aspect of things, we find that men run away. Mm-hmm. And so, I think that if we can get into more productive forums so that, families can talk and the men can talk with each other, then, we can become more open. And so that can help drive us along to our purpose, because if a wife wants to go on a honeymoon in Aruba, for example, next year, and you're like, no, I want to go to Europe, then that's a problem. We know, of course, right? And so, purpose is going to be defined by the information and communication as the foundation, the framework for how you're going to proceed.
Yeah. So I guess you guys would probably say as well that one of the reasons why we have not wanted to talk is because we didn't want to get into that emotional side of ourselves.
Oh, of course.
Come on now. The women are okay with the emotional side, but we're like, I don't know if that's going to, take me out of my masculinity, when it actually does not. It does. I mean, it helps to magnify it, I believe, because Jesus was very emotional. Yeah. God was so emotional. The Bible says that he was moved to send his son while we were yet sinners. So we talk about emotions. They first of all came from God. Oh, my God, our time has slipped away, and I need for you guys to tell people how they can get in contact with you to get a copy of Men Magnifying Manhood, Stories That Give Hope and Empowerment. So we want to go around the table because we want you all that are listening to us to reach out to these guys. They've got a story to tell. You might want to get them into your church, your organization, or whatever. Reach out to them as they're going to tell you how you can contact them to get a copy of Men Magnifying Manhood. And Jason, we're going to start with you first, real briefly, because we got about 2 minutes left.
All right. So pretty much you can find me, you can email me at McFarlane, McFarlane, Jason, JASON @gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at moneymattersphp.com as well. I was going to get my phone number, but
you married, Jason.
Yeah, remind them of that now, Keon.
Reach out to me on one of those two platforms, and we'll make it work for you.
All right, Keon, tell people how they can reach you, get you for speaking engagement, get copies of the book from you.
Sure thing. You can go to my website, keonreid.com. That's KEONREID.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. And if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, it's _KeonReid.
All right. And lastly, Dr. Smith.
Yes, so I could be reached through email at kcsmith03@hotmail.com. That's kcsmith03@hotmail.com. And also on the website, www.theextraordinaryleague.com, www.theextraordinaryleague.com.
Sounds like something I need to join, the Extraordinary League. I like that. And the announcer will tell you how you can get in contact with me. But however, don't forget, this book is going to be available for Father's Day, the perfect gift for fathers, brothers, uncles, nephews, or just friends. You want to get copies of Men Magnifying Manhood, Stories That Give Hope and Empowerment. Well, this is Dr. Ellison and my great guest around the table, and you know how we like to say it. If you're going to live the quality of life you should be living, you got to turn things up. So, brothers, let's say it. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. We'll see you next week right here on Vibrant Living.
We hope you're leaving feeling empowered. Thank you for listening to Vibrant Living with Dr. Ellison. If you would like to learn more about our host or purchase books, please visit his website at drcalvinellison.com. That's Dr. DOCTOR CalvinEllison.com. Be sure to come back next Monday at 6 p.m. for Vibrant Living on Atlanta's inspirational talk radio, Love 860. Bye for now.